जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम An elderly gentleman was reading the Bhagavad Gita. That time, a young talented atheist guy came and sat beside the gentleman. The young guy taunted the gentleman by saying that in the age of science, people are so foolish that they read old-fashioned books like the Gita. He further said that had you devoted this same time to science, then by now the country would have scaled great heights. The gentleman asked the young man for his introduction, to which the youth replied that he was a science graduate from Calcutta who had come to make his career in Baba Atomic Research Center. In Trivandrum there is a Tumba Research Center. The youth further told the gentleman, go devote his attention to scientific research, as by reading the Bhagavad Gita he would not be able to achieve anything. The gentleman smiled and got up to leave. As soon as he got up, his 4 security guards surrounded him and his driver brought his red beacon fitted with the official car. Seeing all this, the youth panicked and asked the gentleman, who are you? The gentleman replied that his name is Vikram Sarabhai, the chairman of the same organization where the youth had come to make his career. At that point of time, there were 13 research organizations in the name of Vikram Sarabhai, along with which he was also the chairman of committee for atomic planning, having been appointed to the same by the then PM Indira Gandhi. Now it was the turn of the youth to be ashamed, and he fell down on Sarabhai's feet, crying profusely. It was then that Sarabhai said a very wonderful thing. That's why we remember.
And he fell down at the feet of Sarabhai and then cried.
What did he say?
He said, behind every creation, there is always the Creator. So it doesn't matter whether it is the time of the Mahabharata or today's India. Never forget God. There is a Creator, whether in the Mahabharata war or today. There is a Creator there. So never forget God. Today's atheist people, by invoking the name of science, may dance as much as they want, but history is witness that science has been created by God, believing these only. God is eternal truth. God's speech, Bhagavad Gita, is true. It cannot be falsified at all. Just by worshipping it, troubles will surely get resolved. So this is faith, the prayer, it can come through so many forms. By hearing such this thing, suddenly, whenever we feel shaken because of what is happening outside, though we have faith, it is not that fully grounded. But episodes like this, live incidents like this, how God made him to come there and sit them, how God made Vikram Sarabhai to sit there incognito, and how the boy got blabbered everything, and finally, how the matured man doesn't shout back. He said, mind your business, nothing like that. So many things have to be learned from this. And then finally, that particular word, creator. Even science, applied knowledge is called science. There is a creator. What is creation? They can say. Who is the creator? Nobody can say. With that background, we will today go through the prayer. This prayer has been composed by Swami Omkarji Maharaj of Shanti Ashram. Adorable presence, A and P capital. Thou who art within and without, above and below and all around, thou who art interpenetrating the very cells of our being, thou who art the eye of our eyes, ear of our ears, heart of our hearts, mind of our minds, breath of our breaths, life of our lives, soul of our souls. Blessed dear God, to be aware of Thy presence now and here. This is all that we ask of Thee. May all of us be aware of Thy presence in the east and the west, in the north and the south. May peace and goodwill abide among individuals as well as communities and nations. This is our earnest prayer. May peace be unto all. A simple prayer. But as we said, suppose we are taking it up in our one-to-one, line by line, we may not be able to understand much. Words can be repeated. Adorable presence, thou who art within and without, no idea. We have to believe the words. Thou who art interpenetrating the very cells of our being, then the reflection, inquiry starts. Doctor, what is the doctor name? Bangalore?
Bhujanga Shetty.
Bhujanga Shetty says, how many, can you get that book? How many cells, trillions of cells are being born and they die every second. How does it happen? To make me a vibrant human being, that mysterious, adorable presence, who is seated within me, is activating, pulsating, motivating, articulating trillions and trillions and trillions of cells. As a student of science, we can easily agree. For every activity that is happening in us, if the cells are not there, Sundar used to sing that Shivoham, no? Kanu Kanu. Remember that word?
No, Swamiji, it's there. It's been printed out.
No.
कण कण में है वास, कण कण में है वास जिसका.
Kanu Kanu, before that word?
I'll take it out. It's there.
No, it is here.
It's here.
Shivoham. So it is there in every prayer. They are somehow trying to make us. It is not something outside they are telling. We have to be a little reflexive, a little contemplative, a little meditative, that's all. Then only in this one-to-one, with God, when we sit, suddenly we realize, yes, the cells are working. Thou art interpenetrating the very cells of our being. Bhujanga Shetty says, you must have read it many a time, but we would have forgotten also, equally. In 1 second we are producing 1.2 millions of red blood cells to replace an equal number that die. 1.2 million. So 1 million is 10 lakhs.
12 lakhs and 12 lakhs.
So 12 lakhs of red blood cells
Created.
they are producing to replace equal number that die in 1 second. That is why we exist as individuals. The other one also will repeat, okay. Our heart beats about 1 lakh times a day and about 35 million times a year. It pumps 6 liters of blood through 1,20,000 kilometers of blood vessels in a day. We are praying to adorable presence, This is not a theory. Only this we have to close our eyes and watch, that's all. In 1 second we are producing 1.2 millions of red blood cells to replace an equal number that die. Our digestive and metabolic system have the remarkable ability to transform the food we eat into blood, bone and body structure. The air which we breathe but cannot see contains oxygen, which is exchanged for the excess of carbon dioxide inside and then thrown out without us even knowing it. Every time we get a cut or wound, within seconds there is a tremendous amount of activity in and around the wound to seal and heal it. Just think. So we are trying to, we take everything as granted, He is now making us to talk, making us to hear, making us to facilitating everything, but we forget it. So prayer is a method to remember Him, to feel His nearness. The third line, Thou who art the eye of our eyes, the ear of our ears, the heart of our hearts, the mind of our minds, the breath of our breaths, the life of our lives, and the soul of our souls. Again, each line we have to go, Eye of our eye. Suddenly we go back to Kenopanishad. In Kenopanishad, the disciple comes and asks the spiritual preceptor, who is the director? What is that word? Keneshitam praditam. Keneshitam pratite proshiti. Patati peshitam manakena prana. I will read out in the English language. By whom willed and directed does the mind light upon objects? Commanded by whom does the main vital air proceed to function? By whose will do men utter speech? What intelligence directs the eyes and the ears? Same question. Keneshitam vacham imam vadanti chakshustotram kahu deva devo yunat. So when we say eye of the eye, in the next sloka he answers, Strotrasya Srotram, same word. Manaso Manoyad, Vachoha Vacham, Pranasya Prana, Chakshusha Chakshuku, Adimucha Dira, Pretyasmad Lokat Amrata Bhavati. It is the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, tongue of the tongue, life of the life, eye of the eye. Having abandoned the sense of self or I-ness in these and rising above sense life, the wise become immortal. So who is the director behind it? Simple question. How do I see? At the moment, how do I see? At the moment, how do I hear? Omkarji Maharaj's prayer directly connects us with that power. He is the eye of the eye. Who is the director? The preceptor answers that he is the eye of the eye. The one power, can we explain that? Sorry, we cannot explain. Every one of us can just watch. Now the hearing is going on, no? Why? The seeing is going on. How does it happen? Before in the Kenopanishad, there is an Ekasloki, Shankaracharya, where there is a dialogue between the Acharya and the disciple. So the Acharya asks, how do you see during daytime, how do you see the light? So the disciple answers, during daytime I see the light through sun, during nights I see through lamps. Then the next question comes, how do you see the light in sun and the lamp? He said, through my chakshu, my eyes. Then he said, during the night, how do you know that you are seeing it? No, how do you see it? Then he says, it is the intellect. So during the night, how do you see it? Then suddenly he says, it is a light from within. Then he says, I am that light. So the power behind seeing, the power behind hearing, the power behind thinking is that power. The power behind that, it cannot be explained. Why it cannot be explained? Elaborately our masters have explained through Vedas that it is the very subject. Only an object can be explained. So it can be told in so many ways. An unknown can be conveyed only through known objects. So I is something which we know. Through eye we see, the seeing goes on through eye. So the easy way for the teacher is eye of the eye. Because eye is something which is known. That which is making us to say this cannot be brought within the ambit of knowable. It is not an object. So Omkarji Maharaj wants every one of us, when we repeat his name, to get connected with that very subject through the object. Meaning the seeing principle in me, the hearing principle in me, the thinking principle in me. We are discussing about the power of the prayer. Just imagine, this prayer can link us, can connect us to the very power because of which we are. So the power of this prayer is when it is chanted, when it is reflected seriously, it can connect us to the very power because of which this prayer is now uttered. It may be very subjective. Kindly think about it. So, he said, they asked somebody, from the audience, do you know Russian? He said, I don't know. So, Swamiji said, think twice. Yes, I don't know. You know that you don't know. Yes, yes. So there are two knowledges here. The no knowledge, then he asked, English, yes, I know. You know that you know English. Yes. So Swamiji put it in a simple way, so it is very difficult to grasp. The no knowledge of Russian and yes knowledge of English is known by you. What is that? One is a relative knowledge, the other is, you can say absolute. It's not 100% absolute, but you say we can absolute. In the sense, with reference to Russian, I don't know. With reference to English, I know. So relative knowledge. But there is one knowledge which illumines both the no knowledge and the yes knowledge. So it is something like that. What is that? It cannot be explained. Only these are some of the ways through which it can be explained. So as sadhakas, we want everything to be given to us in clear-cut terms. It is not possible. We try our level best, but it is not possible. So when we go to Mahatmas, when we go to the Shrutis, we find they direct us towards this. And Papa emphatically says, reflection and meditation, contemplation. That is the only way, only gateway. No other thing is possible. Because later on in the same Upanishads, he will say, not that you worship here, he will say, the eye does not go there, nor speech, nor mind. We do not know that. We do not know how to instruct one about it. It is distinct from the known and the unknown. Natatra chakshur gacchati, na vak gacchati, no manu, no. So like that he says all these things are deleted, and then he says we cannot say what it is. But one thing is sure, tadeva brahmatvam vidhi, nedam yadidam upasade. Now, this is not what you worship here. We are trying now, we are trying to go within and find out through this word, eye of the eye, Thou who art the eye of the eye. In a collective function, we may repeat, everybody may repeat. Where is the time for us to reflect? After that, some other thing will be there, some other thing will be there. So it is always better to have this one-to-one, where we close our eyes and when we chant, we try to pause, we try to understand the theme behind it. Words cannot express, inferences can lead us to the truth. It could be like this, That also fails here because it is purely a subjective experience. So at the moment I say adorable presence. This is all that we bless us, oh dear God, to be aware of Thy presence now and here. I know You are here now. In the form of seeing, in the form of hearing, in the form of smelling, in the form of tasting, in the form of touching. that faculty to do all these things, you are there, now and here, but I am not aware. So I pray to you to make us aware of thy presence. This is all that we ask of thee. May all of us be aware of thy presence. So when in the moment we become aware here, then automatically in the east and the west, in the north and the south, all other things are. Most important part is this. This is taking us nearer to him, no doubt. Then we plead. We have to leave the shoes there. In his commentary in Kenopanishad, Swami Chinmayananda used to say, mind and intellect can help us to a very great extent. But in this particular inquiry, they are like shoes to be kept outside the room. So again we will read with this background. Adorable presence, thou who art within and without, above and below and all around, thou who art interpenetrating the very cells of our being, thou who art the eye of our eyes, the ear of our ears, the heart of our hearts, the breath of our breaths, the mind of our minds, the life of our lives, and the soul of our souls. Bless us, dear God, to be aware of thy presence now and here. This is all that we ask of thee. May all of us be aware of thy presence in the east and the west, in the north and the south. May peace and goodwill abide among individuals as well as communities and nations. This is our earnest prayer. May peace be unto all. When we say earnest prayer, suddenly we feel this is not our earnest prayer. We simply repeat. Make us to become earnest in our prayer. So every time this prayer should come. Prayer is a word through which, we can find, I'm just uttering because I used to utter. I'm just reading because I used to read. If once it has entered, then that is enough for us. The entire sadhana becomes complete with that. The purpose of sadhana is to get ourselves connected to that power because of which the sadhana is being done. So, जो व्यापक है कण कण. That which is omnipresent resides in every atom. The one which does not get destroyed with time. I am the very pure awareness, existent bliss. नहीं तीन कालों में हो नाश जिसका, वही आत्मा सच्चिदानंदमय हूँ, अमर आत्मा सच्चिदानंदमय हूँ. जो व्यापक है कण कण में है वास जिसका. So there are so many ways by which our elders, they have composed various types of prayer, hymns, so that we somehow go near the gate. But what we do is we just say that and we don't go to the gate. Again we go back to the world outside. In a way we can say these are all the paths through which we can get in. Just like we have got password to enter into a computer or a laptop. Suppose I just learn it and I don't use it. So these are all some of the prayers are, the words in the prayer are helping us in the form of this password. We become at least at the thought level aware of His presence through these passwords. And then by intent one to one, we try to move towards Him. For a fraction of a second He will make us aware. Again probably by habituation we are out again. Again we need one more pass to go in. Every time when we go close this, we have to do that. So this is something which we should not forget. Even suppose, in Kerala, people when they tie the dhoti, whenever they see a respectable person, they will immediately like. So, whenever suppose we are passing through, immediately, automatically it will come to us. Even when we go through the flag post, mind will not say to go in an apradakshina way. Because every important incident, occasions, we hoist the flower. It is not a flag hoisting ceremony. There is an emotional, sentimental, mental involvement there, where we are trying to, and the Om is the ultimate, and it is to be scaled. And the person who hoists will have the privilege of knowing, I am doing my self-effort which you have granted me. I cannot do it by myself. If the flag post is not there, if the choir is not there, if the flag is not there, I cannot do it. But when everything is arranged, I do this, that's all. Everything you have facilitated, and you have given me an opportunity now to do it. Make me to remind that I have to go up, scale the heights, that is hoisting the flag. So when we do that with that bhavana, whenever we pass through the flag post, we cannot ignore. At that moment, honestly, it comes before us. The flag that is fluttering now, it is a symbolic representation of the one which we have to scale, the height to which we have to scale. So like that, prayer. So the idea is now to develop that bhavana in our mind. Otherwise prayer becomes a lip level, external, ritualistic exercise. This particular old man, the episode clearly gives us that when you have 100% faith, when you feel that he is there, he could leave the body, placing his head at the holy feet of the Master. So these are all something not for just hearing. This will all help us in our own way, in our house, whenever we pass through the Swami room. We don't do just like that. We feel his presence every day morning after our bath, before we go to work, before we are going anywhere. We will just go and do our pranams there and go. It is not to the photo that we are doing. It is not to the idol that we are doing. It is not for the statue we are doing. It is a reality which is symbolically represented through that.
We try to feel that he is real presence.
That is why we do pranams. We take the tirtha. Whenever we offer the flowers and then we take it as prasad. We offer Naivedya and take it as a prasad. Okay, so every time we remind ourselves the right bhavana. So Papa wants every one of us to develop that bhavana.